Good morning to you all beautiful souls here from Holland. Um, how am I going to start this video? I feel that the terminology for a lot of um, descriptions of who we are is starting to dissolve more and more. But this message is really addressed to people who identify themselves as being an empath, a heyoka, neurodivergent, autistic, highly sensitive souls, so to say. We are becoming more and more the container of the universe. A lot of you guys already have been experienced this for quite some years. And can you imagine how crazy it gets when the solar activity is skyrocketing, when Neptune and Saturn are making their transit through the energetic degree of Pisces? Pisces is the Big Bang, it is everything. And with we I refer to the people who watch my channel and can really resonate with my energy and what I'm saying, um are are in a crazy ride. This morning, as I sat with my breakfast and my cup of tea, it what the sentence that really came into my mind is, we are playing human, because that is what it more and more feels like, when we are also the container of the universe. I don't know if you guys, how many of you have seen, I find it such a beautiful movie because I resonate with the character so much, Meet Joe Black. And when he's talking to the man, he is how do you say that? Gently guiding towards his death. The man asks, like, how can you be here talking to me when you are dead? And he described it so beautifully. He said, yeah, there is just a small fraction of me who is here in the room with you, and the rest is everywhere else. And that's frankly how I have been feeling already all my life. And I can imagine you guys too. Especially people who have been diagnosed with being neurodivergent and autistic. um, we have been also always have been feeling also heyoka and empaths. That's why it's just try to feel what I'm trying to say and address to you guys underneath it, because all those terminology is going to really being blown up within now and a few years, because this is already not accurate anymore. That is how fast this I just came from under the shower, so I'm a bit sweaty. That is how fast this expansion is going right now in our consciousness and in our whole way of being. So this body, this persona, has never really felt as our reality. It is part of a reality, but for most of you guys, it's just such a small fraction of reality, because you are containing the microcosmos inside. So when you have to entertain people and talk to them, and at the same time you are this massive expansiveness of consciousness, you can imagine, you know how it feels like. It just feels like you're just how to juggle all these balls, in the air, and especially doing daily earthy tasks and moving fast in the world is also something you really cannot do when your consciousness is so expansive. You can compare it with this cargo ship, If you compare yourself with this cargo ship who is really laying deep in the water, it is really anchored really deep in the water for it not to tilt. But like if you compare it with a speedboat, it's really surface level, it's agile, it can turn very fast. And that is not what we are about. We're not about surface level consciousness. What we drag with us, sorry, maybe that's a bit negative, what we carry with us is a 24/7 depth. We cannot pull that ship to the surface and also be in that agile, surface level, earthy functioning that society is actually really demanding of us. So sometimes it can make me pretty upset that people like us are being labeled as disabled and dysfunctional because we are being measured towards the norms of society. Okay, I'm gonna leave that aside because this we all experienced it. We know how it is, and it is just what it is. But you being the container of the universe is something that is so potent to never forget, never downsize yourself, because if you do, you're going to get burned out, you're going to get all sorts of trouble with yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, because you're not honoring what you're here to be. It's not even to do. You are embodying the universe. You are rippling consciousness. And when you the video I made about taking responsibility as a heyoka is basically the same what I'm saying right here. You have to start taking responsibility for being such an expansiveness, being way more than only this body sack that we're in. And of course, this is very important too, because I'm all about embodiment. For empaths, people who are neurodivergent, heyokas, INFJs, you name it. The biggest challenge is to anchor that consciousness, and that is really through a lot of breath work, meditation, shadow work. So I'm not at all about this dissociative, out of touch with. I'm talking about grounded, earthy spirituality here. So keep that in mind, because a lot of souls who are that sensitive can go completely into schizophrenic, dissociative, psychotic, addictive behavior when you're not taking responsibility for this reality. Um, so on that note, I really want to get that out there. I'm not talking about this being this expansive consciousness in this floaty way. I'm talking to the souls who have done their work, who have gone through some huge inner shadow work, dark nights of the soul. And now you're at this point in your life where you're really starting to anchor divinity in, and how to deal with being this anchor for the universe, and at the same time navigating Earth. Yeah, I think I'm talking about Alien, am I not? Navigating Earth. That is so funny. But that is what our biggest challenge has been, navigating Earth. And this astrology, the past months especially, have showed us a lot about self-acceptance, self-love, individuating, because we really needed to get back to our core, get back to our truth, and stop being the person that other people are projecting on us. There has been so much projection from all sides: society, family structure, friendships, love, relationships, whatever. And they're all projecting all these things on you. But you have to, at one point, especially when you are so sensitive, and there is really not a big difference between the inside and outside, because you are the feeling body of the universe. You feel the universe, you feel the person who you are engaging with, as if it's your own. This is not a default, as in psychological regions is being described. That is such a horseshit, to be honest. You are a very skilled, multidimensional being that is here to be, to reflect, to mirror. And there is nothing wrong with you. This is your beautiful consciousness that you are radiating and rippling on this earth. And so getting rid of all these projections, whether it's from the medical sector, because a lot of you guys, including myself, have gone through in the past, because you have been struggling very naturally with depression and anxiety, and maybe even psychotic things, or because you were carrying the universe, and your parents and whole society has never shown you how to embody this whole massive consciousness that you are. It's natural that you come into contact with people who put you down big time, and put all these kinds of boxes, put you in these kinds of boxes, and all these kinds of diagnoses, or whatever. So this time frame that we're in is, especially now, Saturn and Neptune are really in their end degrees of Pisces, and Neptune is big time healing. So it's time for us to stand in our spiritual truth, in who we are, not letting ourselves be defined by our surroundings anymore. Saturn is there to really be the teacher, the grounding teacher. Like, okay, how are you going to get this done? How are you going to give structure? And that has always been the biggest challenge for hypersensitive psychic souls like you and me are. How you're going to contain all these skills, all this consciousness, all this feelingness into this earthly plane. And we have been learning. I think it's since 2011 Saturn has been transiting through Pisces. This has been, it was 2011 for me. I'm curious for you guys, when I woke up, when I started waking up. So that's so beautiful. When Saturn started entering Pisces, my whole world started shifting in a very rapid pace. All my psychic abilities came online. Everything started expanding in an unheard pace. So we have been dealing and being molded and squeezed, so to say, by Neptune and Saturn for quite some years now. And If if you look at 11 years ago and you look at yourself now, if I'm looking at myself, I see I have grown so much. There's been so much more self-acceptance. Also on a earthy plane, as I already discussed a few minutes ago about that cargo ship we are really deep in the water. We are carrying way more depth than most people here on earth do. So honoring that is very important. And how do you honor that? For me, honoring that is living a slow life. I cannot go all about that fast paced living, because I will not be faithful to my depth. Traveling, like, traveling with airplane or with the car, lots of things that go fast is something I shouldn't do that much, because it drags me out of my depth. I'm getting overwhelmed, um, on top of everything that is already happening. So I really thrive on slow living, staying in touch with nature. For me, every when I finish this video, I'm going into nature again, connecting with the trees and the air and the water and all the elements, because that is me. I'm way more expansiveness than I am contraction. For me, contraction is more being only the body. So nurturing me is so important. Also, I am very sensitive to all sorts of food I cannot handle. I need to be very mindful in what I eat. I need to be mindful in the people that are in my life. As I already told you guys, the past few videos at the moment, there are really no people that are in a frequent basis in my life. I am in solitude, hermit mode, big time right now. And I know a lot of you guys are also, because of this huge anchoring we are doing, we are letting go of so much outward projection that has been put on us. We are letting go of so much trauma identification, coming home to the cosmic beings that we are. And it takes time to really ground into that, to let our nervous system come to peace, to find safety, to feel safe in our own body again. So honoring what you need as a highly sensitive person is so key right now. Setting boundaries that keep you safe, taking care of your inner child. This is all the work we are doing right now. Yes, I think this is the end of the transmission. As always, love to hear from you guys. Um, Much love. And I want to thank you also, by the way, for all the beautiful communication that I have been getting, especially the last two videos. It's so also healing for me to get in touch with people who are experiencing a Kundalini awakening, who are experiencing their highly sensitive nature, who are experiencing needing to take responsibility for a completely different way of living, of being. And I hope it is just as healing for me as it is for you guys. Reading out of the comments you have made, it probably is. I received all of them. Yeah, love you guys, and speak to you next time.